The next part of our program will feature the living icons of our club. We
Wow.
gathered some questions from club members for our two beloved charter members to answer.
And we've asked no less than past international president Olivia Ferry to lead this segment. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please enjoy our conversations with our living charter members who were also past presidents, Erlinda Panlilio and Olivia Bubbles Villafuerte.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joanne and Maritoni. But before we start with what promises to be an interesting conversation with our two charter members and past presidents, Erlinda Panlilio and Olivia Villafuerte, let me just give you a little bit of history of how Zonta started in the Philippines. Zonta came to the Philippines in 1952. That's 33 years after the Confederation of Zonta Clubs was formed in November 8, 1919. The first club in Asia was the Zonta Club of Manila Foundation, Inc., then called the Zonta Club of the Philippines. And for about 16 years, there really was just this one club in the Philippines. At that time, the Philippines was part of what was known as Region 1. And then a flurry of clubs were organized starting 1968. And by the time Region 1 was restructured or divided and District 17 was formed in 1979, there were 17 clubs in the Philippines, one of which was the Zonta Club of Makati, Incorporated, which was organized by the Manila Club in April 1971 as club number 0666. Our charter date is April 1, but our charter ceremony and introduction to the community was held on April 26, 1971. There were two other clubs formed that year, the Zonta Club of Mandaluyong San Juan, who recently held their 50th year celebration on April 20, and the Zonta Club of Singapore. We amended our name to the Zonta Club of Makati and Environs Foundation, Inc. in 1999. Now, I would like to address my first question to Linda. Linda,
Yes.
I did, look, I took the liberty of researching your membership record at Zonta International Headquarters.
Okay.
And I noted that you have been a member for 52 years, and yet Makati is only 50 years. You're a charter member of Makati. So how did that happen?
Well, I was a charter member of Zonta Club of Quezon City in 1969. And then Shimang Garcia and Annie Ferrazini of Manila, Zonta Club of Manila, asked me to transfer to Makati, which is really more convenient for me because my husband and I had moved to Makati, to Dasmariñas village. So that was good. I became a charter member of Zonta Club of Makati in 1971.
Yeah, and I think you told me that you had just opened this solo restaurant in Makati, and that's the reason why, you decided you'd move to Makati instead of,
That's
keep
right.
your membership at the Quezon City club, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I remember that because Solo was really such an in place at that time. That's even where I spent celebrated my despedida de soltera and wedding reception in 1965. Well,
right.
anyway, I joined the Zonta Club of Makati in July of 1977. That's during the term of Fecan Las Dizon as president.
Oh.
And I owe my membership to you, Bubbles. We were office mates the years earlier at Channel 5, which was founded by Chino Roses, who owned the Manila Times Publishing Company. You invited me to join Zonta, but this was 5 years after Channel 5 was actually closed by martial law. And at that time, I really knew little about the organization, save for its mission that I believed in. But I felt that, I had put a service to others in the back burner for quite some time while I was raising my family and building my career, that it was really then time to reignite that zeal. So I became a Zontian. So Bubbles, in your case, can you tell me what inspired you to join Zonta? Who tapped you to become charter member of Zonta?
Before I go into that, Libby, I have to tell all and sundry here that my biggest claim to fame for Zonta was inviting you as a member of Zonta.
Wow.
Honestly, I mean, really. And I owe it also to my late husband because you worked with him very closely. And he was the one who prodded me and said, kunin mo si Livy. Invite Livy Ferry. I'm sure she'll be an asset to your club. So that's how it all happened. So thank you for saying yes. and yes. Anyway, joining Zonta was actually the farthest from my mind at that time because, I was struggling with my first pregnancy and struggling to adjust to a full-time job. So who had time for another responsibility? So it really, I didn't take it seriously. But then one day I got a call from my mom saying, expect a call from Tita Minching, that's Carmen and Verga Santos, who is a family friend and my OB too. And I said, why? And she said, just talk to her. Anyway, I did get the call. And she did say that, well, she said, can I invite you to join the Zonta Club of Makati? I had to swallow hard. I said, me? Join you and other ladies like you? I mean, what in the world are you thinking? And she said, well, I invited your mom. And she said, she volunteered you. I said, gee, thanks, mom. But anyway, when somebody like Tita Minching talks to you, how can you say no? I said, okay, okay. My quick reply was, okay, I'll try it. So there you go. That's how it all started. I became a member of Sonda. I was among giants. I was among women who were distinguished in their careers, in their professions, socially, culturally, even politically. So here I was, this little mouse coming in, joining the club of women like Linda Panlilio. My gosh, I mean, one of them. So
I'm nobody.
no, you weren't. So that's how it all started. And technically, all these ladies were my titas.
Well, Zonta is really known for diversity and inclusivity,
Agreed.
bringing together women of different generations, ideas, thoughts, and expertise
Yeah.
to work together for women empowerment. And,
Yes.
I bet our young members here now are saying, ay nako, kasama
Mga tita.
natin ang ating mga
Mga
titas.
tita.
We are the titas now.
Yes.
I
Yeah, the
didn't know.
shoes
I
on the other
didn't know. By the way, I didn't know Vince was the one who
He did.
suggested that I join the Zonta Club. So
Yes, I
really
was
owe it
talking to him about Zonta, and he said, "Hey, you should invite Livy." I said, "You're right. I mean, why not?" There you go. That's how it all started. Everybody know this.
Okay, let me go back to the chartering of the club. As we all know, the birth of a new club is it's a time for a big celebration. And in pre-COVID days, we would have a dinner party at the Posh Hotel, attended by our members, our special guests, and invited Zonta dignitaries and Zonta members and friends. Now, Linda, can you dip into your memory bank, transport us back 50 years ago, and tell us how this day was celebrated in 1971? Was there a Zonta dignitary from Chicago who came to grace the occasion? Was there a theme for the party or something like that? Tell us about it.
Well, at that time, there were no hotels yet. Peninsula wasn't established, and the Sulu restaurant was a leading venue. So, and it was the policy of Zonta to patronize their fellow Zontians properties. So our chartering was held in the Sulu restaurant in Makati in 1971. And we had a Zonta dignitary in the person of Leota Pecrul, the international president, no less. We were only 22, led by our charter president, Dr. Minching Santos, who was a renowned OB-GYN. Yes.
Yeah, Leota Pecrul was actually a member of the Zonta Club of Denver. And she was the 30th president of Zonta International. And she served immediately after past president Helvi Sipela, who was actually the first president outside of North America. And of course, I'm sure our Zontians here know about Helvi. They've heard of her. She was concurrently highest ranking woman in the United Nations at that time.
She came here, did you know? She visited our center.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me go to Bubbles. Bubbles, do you remember who our charter members were, and are there any other still any living members today aside from the two of you?
aside from, yes, I can't remember all 22, no, but so far, there's Linda, there's myself, and then, of course, Fekan Lasdison and Ambassador Isabel Wilson, who left the club some time ago, and will probably rejoin us sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
hope so.
I can't remember all 22, but I think I understand we have a list somewhere of
Yeah,
Yeah.
guess
22.
what, Bubbles? We do have a list.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
a slide showing that.
great, yes, and so
Okay, there we are.
There
hopefully,
is.
That's the list of our
that's all
charter
the 22.
members. That's all 22 of them.
Some of them are still around, but have left the club. And like I said, hopefully we may be able to woo them back. Maybe, hopefully,
Yeah,
to
and
rejoin like I did.
yeah, and I
But there
think
you
maybe
go.
some of them are present tonight, right?
Yes,
I
we
did
have
see
invited.
Isabel. I did see Isabel Wilson.
Yes,
I saw
Ambassador.
her
Yes.
at the
Yes,
even at mass this afternoon.
yes. Thanks
Okay,
for
the
coming.
next question. I addressed this next question to both of you. Would you
Mm-hmm.
remember what were the projects of the Zonta Club of Makati then? And were there any particular project or projects that you were involved in that you are especially proud of? You start, Linda.
Well, at that time, we had the nutrition feeding
Yes,
center
yes.
led
Mona.
by Dr. Fekan Lasdison in a poor community in Santa Ana. This was moved to Barrios Carmona and Pitogo during the presidency of Isabel Caro Wilson. I was involved in the planning of low-cost, nutritious meals for the disadvantaged communities of Pitogo and Pinagkaisahan.
What about you, Bubbles?
Yes, I agree with Linda because I was also there, and this was the first time I really experienced going into the inner city of Makati, and really, this was up close and personal with the mothers and the children. There was even a school, right, Linda? There was a school,
Yes,
and our very own members, the doctors, were the ones there,
yes.
attending to the children and the mothers, and it was a different experience because I had never experienced this before. So I said, so this is what it feels to do outreach. So that made such an impact on me, and I remember that very well. That
Yeah,
was one of my favorite
yeah,
projects.
I remember that our club served the depressed communities of Makati,
Yes,
specifically in the, ano na nga yan, well, let's see, Barrios,
Carmona,
Carmona, Pitogo,
Pitogo,
Togo,
Pinagkaisahan,
Pinagkaisahan,
Pinagkaisahan.
Guadalupe
Yes,
Guadalupe
Nuevo, and
Nuevo.
East Rembo. That's
yes,
before we moved to our current center in
yes.
Taguig, which is, fronting C5 across Heritage
Lighted
Park, right?
areas. Yes,
That's where we are now.
that's
Anyway,
right.
Linda, 52 years of being a Sonsian. That's a long, long time. What is it about Sonta that makes you stay? And what important Sonta experiences have affected your love for and your attitude towards the organization?
Well, I came to enjoy the fellowship and camaraderie that Zonta offers, especially the founding of the Zonta Club of Makati Chorale by Mila Dairit, a fellow charter member who was a pianist and jeweler. Of course, I like the fact that Zonta's principal object was the advancement of the status of women because it would enable us to be at par with men, many of whom were chauvinists. I especially enjoyed attending district conferences and international conventions because these were held in countries I would be able to see and tour.
What about you, Bubbles?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you mind telling us, what the question that I asked Linda? I mean, what is it about Sonda that makes you stay, and what are your important experiences?
I actually like Linda said, the camaraderie is amazing. I mean, the way we get along with each other. When we get together, we never run out of things to talk about. And
Very noisy.
yeah, and meetings are always noisy. Like, I mean, honestly, I mean, how can that? It's so much fun. And when you're among women who you feel comfortable with, it's it's a winner.
Pero wait, Bubbles, you took a long leave of absence from Sonta.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long it was, but I mean, maybe
10
you can
years.
tell us. 10 years, okay.
Yes.
Why did you take a leave, and why did you decide to come back? I mean, what made you decide to come back?
At that time, I had to leave to attend to my ailing husband. He was very sick, and it was difficult for me to attend to his emotional, mental, psychological needs, and at the same time would be unfair for me to be with Zonta and not do a good job and not being able to do enough for the club. So I told myself, okay, first things first, I tend to my husband first. So I had to take a leave. And I didn't realize it was 10 years. 10 years of no Zonta. I don't know how I did it, but I got through that. And
Well,
then I got lured back by when Mita was president for the second time. When I left, she was president.
yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you did come back.
And then she was the one who poked me in the ribs and said, Hoy, bumalik ka na. And really, I mean, I told myself, yeah, maybe it's time, maybe it's time. So here I am. I'm back.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great that you're back. But you know, I really was saddened by the passing of Vince due to COVID. I mean, Vince was working with us at
Parkinson's. He had
working with us at Channel. I mean,
Parkinson's.
sorry, Parkinson's, not ano ba? Where am
Wala
I?
pang COVID, no?
Wala pa nun.
But due to Parkinson's, and well, he was our office mate, and I remember him as being tall and handsome, and I mean, you really made such a handsome pair, the two of you.
Oh, wow, well, thank you.
So Linda, okay, I go back to you. What did you consider as the highlight of your membership in Zonta? And what did you contribute to Zonta that you are most proud of?
Well, I would consider my presidency of the club as the highlight of my Zonta membership and my shepherding of the Zonta Makati Chorale after its founder, Mila Dairit, had passed away. Our chorale performed in an early area meeting in Cebu and at the Zonta International Convention in Hong Kong. We were also the guest performer at the Philippine Independence Day celebration of the Philippine Embassy in Madrid upon the invitation of then Ambassador Isabel Caro Wilson, who had been a Zonta Makati president.
Okay, what about you, Bubbles?
Libby, it's hard to pinpoint what the high points of Zonta, because it seems that every activity, every program is a high point in Zonta. Walang low moments. But again, I will say, just like Linda, one of the high points in my life was when I was asked to be president in 1986. Sabay ni Cory. First, I couldn't believe that I was being invited to be president. And I said, me, president of you, and you? It was hard. But, when somebody sticks a gun to your side, pulls your arm back and twists your arm, how can you say no?
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I thought it was an honor that I'd be asked to be president. But there was a condition. I said, I will agree to be president. 3 conditions. First condition, Linda Villanueva will be my advisor. Second condition, Linda Panlilio will be my advisor. So I had Linda on the right and Linda on the left. And of course, there's Libby Ferry. I mean, how can you go wrong with these 3 women? So that's why that was a high point, because I learned so much from these 3 women. It was an experience, because marami akong natutunan. I learned so much.
But Bubbles,
Yes.
daya ninyo. You got me as
Yes,
member of Zonta. You got me as member of Zonta. And then I was president
You
ahead
were
of
made
you.
president,
Ano ba yan?
I know.
Because I was a newbie, you made me president. Ala.
Because it was time for you to be president. That was your time. So I figured,
I was
okay.
such a new member, and then the next biennium I was treasurer, and then I was president. Ano ba yan? Tapos
Well, look where you are now.
Tapos si Linda, pagkatapos ikaw, then you.
Look where you are now.
Ang galing
We're
ka
right.
kasi.
Okay, guys,
We're right
look,
after all.
in a study which I conducted many years ago, when I was international chair of the membership committee, I saw that more often than not, we lose our members in the first 2 to 4 years of their membership. And I did a little research on the dates when our Zonta Makati members joined. And I saw that out of our 64 members, 35% have been members for 4 years or less. And another 35% joined before the year 2000. So we really need to create a passion for Zonta and a dedication for Zonta's mission amongst our members so that we can keep them. So as your parting shot, can you offer some words of advice to clubs and to our new members based on your own personal experience that would help in the retention of their membership? What are the benefits of joining an international organization like Zonta? I start with you again, Linda.
Well, I think that new members should immediately be asked to join a club committee to get them engaged. Membership, organization and extension, finance, fellowship, bylaws and resolutions, whatever. Being a member of an international organization like Zonta lifts one from insularity to internationality, to have a global outlook.
What about you, Bubbles? What do you
Well,
think?
Okay.
What your parting shot, please?
Yes, being in an international organization allows the members to learn, to experience, participate in other Zonta activities aside from their own. It's just like traveling. They say traveling broadens one. Membership in an international organization excuse me, expands one's outlook, a view on many, many matters, issues, uh, socially, politically, even culturally. And I think in order to keep the membership vibrant and active, the club must be dynamic. We have to be continuously reinventing ourselves, refreshing, and keeping members young, not just in age, but in activities, the kind of activities we do, the kind of projects. Always in step with the times, but not forgetting our legacy, not forgetting our identity. So it's a continuous process. We don't get stuck with old projects. We keep doing new stuff. And that's the way to keep them interested. Even the older members, all of a sudden their eyes light up and they say, oh nga pala, no, pwede pala. So let's do it.
Next biennium, chairman ka na ng membership committee.
Maria,
Tapos na ako. I was membership committee noon.
Well,
That's
you can always come
Vivian
back.
Uy was
We will
that
reappoint
batch.
you.
Well, I'm proud. You seek the president now. That was when I
Maria
was
Goursby
membership.
is raising her hand.
Oh, there's a question from Maria Goursby.
Oh no.
Maria,
Hi,
do you have
Maria.
a question? Oh, please unmute, Maria.
Unmute yourself, Maria.
Maria is here. Oh, nice to see you.
Oh, paano po ngayon?
There you are.
There she is.
There you are,
Hi,
Maria.
Maria.
Do you have a
Hello.
question to our
Maria Goursby.
two ladies?
Oh, yeah, may question and answer ka pa. Hi, Maria. Yes.
Hi. Do you want to say anything, Maria?
Ano? Ewan mo si John. Paano yan?
We can hear you and see you.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know whether she was raising her hand. Baka hindi.
I saw she raised her hand.
Yeah, I did see a raised hand,
Yeah.
She had a question.
icon upstairs, but I mean at the top. But anyway, that was really very well said, ladies, and so thank you very much. Santa dignitaries, sisters, conscience, and friends, there you have it. A little bit of history from the eyes of two of our oldest serving members in the Zonta Club of
Oldest?
Makati.
Serving.
Two of our
Oldest
oldest
serving.
serving
Yeah.
at the Zonta Club of Makati. We heard some inspiring words about their membership journey in Zonta and their prescription for igniting that passion and love for the organization that will keep us Zontians motivated, engaged, happy, steadfast, and committed to the ideals and goals of Zonta. So thank you very much again, Linda and Bubbles.